Pretty stress-free so far, which is always a good thing. Before I answer any questions, I want to thank some people behind the scenes who've done a great job for us in helping with these signings today. Obviously, Ross and Carrie, their support administratively, we couldn't do without their support, and they are always willing to work with us, and we rarely get an answer of no. So it's very helpful, makes our job so much easier. My staff, Billy Homer, Parker Wereb, Ed Terwilliger, Zoe and Murph on the recruiting side of things, Ryan Mayhew and Dallas Dudley, Cole Spencers, who is a newer addition. His life is about to get turned upside down with the portal here coming up. Creative team, they did a great job with the videos they put together for today. Those things were awesome. And I want to give a special shout out to Logan, who's in the back there. For the last couple of weeks, we barely are away from each other. We are side by side, navigating the agents, navigating contracts, trying to get everybody in a happy place. And honestly, Logan has made my life so much easier of just his knowledge and expertise in this. And we make a great team. So thank you, Logan, for doing everything. With that being said, happy to answer any questions.
When someone commits, but you're still waiting on them to send the paperwork and everything and finalize that, what is the process that goes through there? And at what point do you start to get nervous?
Yeah, obviously we're trying to do our best without being pushy or aggravating, but obviously give them the space they need, and we're here to try to help and get it done once they feel comfortable with everything.
Go in the back, Daniel.
Mark, obviously Brian Hartline's been such a big part of the recruiting efforts here. Just first of all, what has he meant to your recruiting efforts, and then how have you kind of communicated with recruits about his departure and how you guys will fill in for him?
Yeah, first of all, very happy for Hart. He deserves it. He's done a tremendous job here, as everybody knows. Not only recruiting, coaching up these guys, developing, and now as the offensive coordinator this season, having one of the top offenses in the country. He's done a tremendous job, so we're all very happy for him. I think we would all agree right now that Coach Day probably has about 50 missed phone calls from every wide receivers coach in the country who would love to come join here. So it's obviously very appealing. Obviously, Coach Day's going to go out and get the best person possible, but Hart set the standard now. So who's ever going to replace him you got big shoes to fill.
When we talked to you in August, it was right in the midst of all this transition with the rules and unclear navigation of collectives and all that stuff. And you said, well, whatever they are, Ohio State will adjust. Over the last 4 months, how much adjustment was there? How different did the approach need to be? Because it feels like in real time, different strategies were deployed.
Yeah, we stayed patient through the whole thing. We didn't panic. Obviously, we were waiting to get some clarity on some things, but at the end of the day, I had also mentioned we were going to put a heavy emphasis on senior film evaluations, and as you can tell, we did. And so college football this season was the most fragile, chaotic that we've probably ever seen. So, by being patient, things worked out. Obviously, once you get kids on campus here, they see why people decide to come here. It's a great opportunity for them.
Chris Henry was a guy that was rumored to be considering flipping, and then obviously Brian leaves this morning. How hard was it to keep him in the fold, and what kind of addition is he to that class?
So I can only talk about guys who have signed right now.
He hasn't officially signed then? Okay.
We'll go right behind Doug White.
Mark, obviously talking about what Brian had done, particularly as a recruiter here, obviously the position coaches are hugely important in recruiting, but I think some Ohio State fans would look and say, man, this guy was so good, there's going to be a drop-off. How would you describe the balance of you and your staff, Ryan, the position coach, the university that all goes into recruiting, and how big is the position coach in that?
Yeah, position coach is the main contact now. It's kind of drifted away from having, in the past we've done, area coaches before, and now in this new world, it's pretty much solely the position coach, coordinators, and the head coach. But the position coach is in the weeds of everything. They're the ones on an everyday basis building and maintaining those relationships. My staff's there to assist. Obviously, when they come on campus, they do a great job just keep making sure the families are feeling welcome and happy. But yeah, it's why we try to have multiple voices building relationship with the coordinators and head coaches in case guys get these opportunities that they still feel comfortable here.
Jeremy?
Mark, you talk about the in-season evaluations, and I'm just curious, from your perspective, when you look at a guy like Jay Timmons, for example, who Rivals has as the #1 ranked cornerback in the country, it's not a guy that you'd think would be a traditional, we need to see senior film for a guy that's ranked that high. What made Jay seem like the right fit for the program and the late push for him, but also your opinion on the way Tim has handled this cycle, considering that there are 3 highly ranked cornerbacks in Ohio that all ended up elsewhere, and yet you guys get 2 guys that were at the very top of your list?
Yeah, Jay was a little bit unique because he was committed to another school. And so we, like I said, we stayed patient there. Once Coach Walton went and visited him our first bye week, Jay had expressed that, he did have interest in Ohio State. And once he did, Tim just jumped 2 feet in, and we were able to get him over here. Obviously, he's a tremendous player. He's an even better person. You guys are going to love interviewing him because he's always full of energy, probably a lot like Jermaine and IGB right now, so we'll keep that tradition going for us. But yeah, we were very excited. Obviously, he's a Pittsburgh kid. It's been a long time, it feels like, since we've signed a guy from Pittsburgh, even though it's not far away. So it's a great addition, especially at the last minute. We expect him to come in and compete.
With a guy like Sam Greer locally, obviously there's been a ton of discussion in the last 5-6 years about the challenges of signing that 5-star offensive tackle prospect. And when you have one in Ohio, how much of a relief is that at #1, but also, how challenging were the last few months as other teams still tried to pull him away, and what does it mean for you guys to have a guy that you evaluated and got to know 3 years ago when he was a high school freshman, and now he still follows through and signs today?
Yeah, so good thing is Coach Day offered him when he was a freshman, so that was his first offer, so that obviously helped. But no, Sam, like you said, the tackles like him don't grow on trees. We don't take Ohio kids for granted, especially anymore with NIL involved. So we wanted to show he was a high priority for us. We think he's a future left tackle here, and obviously comes from a great high school program at Hoban with Tim Terrell. And no, we're just very excited. He's been one of the leaders of the class, especially with the O-line guys, and he's here for multiple games helping us recruit them, and so we're very excited about Sam.
Mark, a lot of time, in this era with the transfer portal, I think people sometimes just say, let's go to the portal and try to flip things around pretty quickly. You guys have been pretty set that you're going to go through high school, you're going to develop. What are those conversations like year to year that are just like, hey, all of this is changing, but we want to stay true to this? Because when you look at this year's roster, a lot of these guys you guys have developed and grown on.
Yeah, going back to day one, the philosophy has build through high school. That's the backbone of your team, and then fill in any gaps with the transfer portal. Probably very similar to a lot of successful NFL teams. It seems like you see the teams that do great in the draft and kind of only have to fix a few needs here and there through free agency are the ones who have sustained success. And I think so far our model has shown to work pretty well. If you're having to delve into the portal, bring a lot of guys in the room, we're trying to keep that culture very strong. And I think the more guys you have that are grown up through it, the better you're going to be. But we've had great success in picking the right guys to go in that locker room also from the portal. And, this year we'll try to do the same.
Mark, you and Ryan have talked about staying patient, evaluating senior film, wanting to make sure your investment's right. What's the balance between that and also understanding that some of these kids, like you mentioned with Sam, they see a first offer and that really sticks with them? How do you know when when it's right to stay patient and when you maybe need to move a little bit quicker and say, senior film, we have to forget that, we need to move now?
Yeah, like Coach Day always mentions, evaluations are more important than ever. And so, really the last 3 months, I've been staring at my computer screen for 10 to 12 hours a day, watching sophomore, junior, senior film. And so I myself and our staff have to do a great job of identifying guys early on, letting the coaches know who we think are the top guys that they need to spend whatever free time they do have during the season to start building that relationship. And then, the ones we feel great about off of junior film, we'll start this attacking now. We've already got a handful of committed guys for the 27 class. But once the season's over, then we'll really attack it.
Yeah, Mark, with the way that everything's set up now and how you guys go about recruiting, it seems the constant still is like there's a couple of guys in the class who take like lead recruiting hats. I know that you kind of shout out CJ a few years ago, and you guys seem to have one of those every year. Are there any guys, and you don't want to like single guys out, but are there any guys in this class that maybe deserve a little bit of props for being lead recruiters as peers?
Yeah, really, I think Sam and Max for the O-line and Tucker, whenever, Landry, before he was committed here, they did a great job making him feel comfortable. I think Sincere has a tremendous personality. He's going to be a guy that lights up the room. He's going to be a guy that we're definitely going to have him hosting commits when they visit. I mentioned Jay. I'm trying to think some of the other guys, but I mean, whenever they were here for home games, our committed guys, they always did a great job, went out of their way to make sure everyone felt good, tried to win.
How important is that now for you guys with money being so big now and with all the other things, that peer-to-peer recruiting that you guys seem to have a few of those guys every class that can kind of latch onto the guys who are committed?
Yeah, I mean, relationships are still very important, not only with the coaches, but also future teammates as well. And so if guys feel comfortable rather than if they're coming far from home and not knowing anybody, then it makes it a little bit more difficult. But if they build these relationships by going to different camps, meeting guys here when they come for games, they feel a lot more comfortable. They have roommates picked out, and it makes the transition for them a lot easier.
Stephen Venus.
You just said it, but relationships still matter, but multiple years in a row, here we are on signing day, and guys who have maybe been committed for a long time, and you're still kind of waiting for paperwork and whatnot. How has that maybe impacted the way you guys go about things? And then also, you've complained about it at times, Ryan Day's complained about it at times. What is a perfect window for signing period? If you could build it, how would you build it?
Yeah. For your first question, sorry, repeat the first question again.
Just like to spend multiple years creating
the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That eventually it's going to come down to a negotiation.
Yeah. Every situation is different. Not every guy that's signed today is because of NIL. So, it's every situation is different. I think obviously today we just want to celebrate signing day, but at some point, with Ross and Coach Day and myself, we do want to attack some issues that we're dealing with right now with the necessary people, but we'll save that for another day.
Are there times when the NIL portion has gotten to a point where you felt like you needed to walk away from a recruitment in this cycle?
Yeah, it does. I mean, at the end of the day, we're never looking to be the highest number. We don't want guys to come here strictly for NIL. And so a lot of times we'll be competitive, we'll be reasonable, but we also have a limit that we're willing to walk away from.
Next door, Bill Landis.
Mark, you guys were kind of at the forefront of player retention, doing that better than anybody. As other programs become smarter about that, is there any notion that moving forward the portal can maybe be worse? They're sort of like not as fruitful, like barring coaching changes, and is that reflected at all in the size of this high school class, and might you take larger high school classes moving forward because of that?
Yeah, I think just there's so many unknowns with roster building right now and maintaining that. I think, especially with Coach Day, so there's one portal window now, so we have to be right. We don't have a chance to fix it in the spring, and so we don't want to be caught short-handed. So for some reason, if we have guys who decide to leave for the NFL or who want to go chance to play somewhere else with more playing time, we can't be caught short at the position. So we're going to overextend, I think, a little bit in the high school world, and again, develop these guys rather than try to go into the portal and make a bunch of. You never want to really have to take a portal guy to be a backup unless, you just have major issues. So hopefully we can avoid that and just, take guys that we feel are impact guys.
Do a couple more, go to Nick Walker.
You mentioned kind of only having one window. You guys already have 10 offensive, defensive line signees. I think you're probably going to get up to 11 here. Why was that such a big point of emphasis, and does that portal window play into it?
If you're trying to go into the portal for O lineman or D lineman one, it's supply and demand. It's a low supply and a high demand, and there's certain schools that have no price tag for those type of guys. So that's not somewhere where you want to get stuck and try to fix a problem, just because it's going to be very expensive. You're going to have to overpay, just like in the NFL with free agency. So we want to do a great job in the high school world, get them here, develop them, and avoid that.
Is that kind of the plan with Corey? Like, I know he's somebody you guys have had, and he's just risen up in the rankings of the senior season. Is that kind of plan to just develop him and you guys like the traits and what stands out about him, I guess?
Yeah, Kari, I mean, he was a top of the board guy for us, from day one. It wasn't about how many stars was behind his name. And, we never even got him here until the official visit. So we had to make sure we did a great job of, showing everything Ohio State had to offer then. And we wanted the family to know that we valued him. So, he's a great addition of a guy that we think we need him to be ready day one to go. And I think last time he was here, he was 270 pounds. So he's physically going to be, and he had a great senior season. So we're very excited about him.
Tony Kirkman.
Can there be a common sense schedule, calendar? And
There can, yes.
what does that look like? How far away is signing day? How far away is the portal? Like, what would that look like?
Yeah, I'm not going to go with the specifics right now. I think it's a broader question where we have to get all the right people in the room and put our brains together. I mean, there's a lot of smart people that work in football that can have a greater voice, I think, and try to get some of these issues fixed.
All right, for two more, go to Stefan.
When you mentioned Ross in your open there, you mentioned him a couple times. When all the changes with revenue sharing and stuff like that were going on, obviously he was a part of implementation committee and things of that nature. Just how much did you have to, talk back and forth with him of figuring out exactly how everything works, how everything would be enforced, and what's it meant, I guess, to have him, kind of there as one of the leaders in this new era of revenue sharing?
Yeah, it was great. Obviously, he had inside hand on what things were going to look like. And obviously, Ross is fully on board on supporting this program. Obviously, when you sign this many guys in the class, that's not cheap. So we had the support financially, from him to, hey, you guys need to put together the best possible class you can. And, he's going to support us along the way and give us, hey, here's how you navigate this new world with rev share and everything else. So it's been great.
Joe.
Got a group of guys from Central Ohio in this class, including two at Olin Tangi, who are on the same defensive side of the ball. What do you see out of those two guys? What do they have in common? What do you like about them?
Yeah, obviously CJ committed early. CJ came to camp last year. He's tough. He's what James is looking for, of a guy who can go sideline to sideline, great instincts, physical. And so he was an early identifier guy. Caden, that one kind of popped up here over the last few days, and is a guy that another senior film eval. Every game you turn on, he's making 10, 12, 15 tackles a game. And so when that opportunity arose, we were very excited to have him be a Buckeye.
Wrap us up.
Mark, when it comes to, there's going to be a lot of conversation about who hasn't signed yet today or whatever happens in the next 48 hours. But when you look at guys like Brock Boyd and Jaden Ricketts, who committed early, signed this morning, no incident, and obviously they still want to be a part of the wide receiver room at Ohio State. What do you like about those guys, specifically Brock, who's one of the most productive receivers in the country over the last couple of years, and what does he bring that maybe the receiver room hasn't had?
Yeah, I think Brock is probably the most underrated wide receiver in the country, just from a ranking standpoint. He's at a prominent high school in the state of Texas and breaks the school record there. In the playoffs right now, he's just dominating every game he plays in. So Hartline did a great job, when he went down there. It was either last winter or spring, and said, hey, Mark, this is the guy we need to get. And so Brock's been outstanding. Jaden, obviously, down the road, he loves Ohio State. He's a guy who's a 10-5 guy, and so he's got some great traits that we can build on in the future.
All right, Mark, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Mark.